Bright in studio this morning to talk about everything sports. It's the Sideline Report on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger. And a very good morning to you. Yeah, we're just a little bit behind 9:03. It's 9:07, but we're here, and sometimes we run over, and that's okay. And good morning. I have Todd Griffin in studio.
Good morning. It's a championship Thursday, and we're all fired up and ready to go.
We are, and I'll let you introduce our studio guest.
Well, we've got a busy show lined up today. Tyler Dixon from the Kentucky New Era, the sports editor over there, will be joining us a little bit later. But we're going to start the show off with Caldwell County baseball coach Bradley Stallins. And Bradley, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's a big day for Caldwell County baseball, a district championship game tonight, and that's going to be over at Dawson Springs at 6 o'clock against Madisonville North Hopkins, and that's a big game. I really think that Caldwell County should be the favorite, but Madisonville got you guys once during the season, so it's going to be an interesting matchup.
It is, and we've prepared our boys for that. You know, it's been a good rivalry over the years. You know, even in the last, how many years we've won, they've beat us a couple times in the regular season and played us close in several district games, and so. It's going to be a good game, regardless of what the outcome is. It's going to be a tight game.
Well, when we were moved over to the 7th District, whatever that was, 2005 or whatever, if we're being honest, at that point I thought district championships for Caldwell County might be few and far between.
And you weren't the only one. I've heard that a lot of times. And, we knew that the task was going to be daunting. When you move from the 5th District, where we're probably, I guess we were the biggest school.
At the time.
And we moved from the 5th District and then moved to, that 7th District. We knew as a coaching staff that it was going to be an uphill battle, but it was a challenge that, we were willing to accept. You kind of hated to move away from that 5th District because you had so many natural rivals over the years, and then you went into the 7th and you kind of had to make your own rivalry. And, we've had a really good run of baseball talent here in Caldwell County over the last several years, and, that obviously helps.
Yeah. Well, 6 straight district championships. A win tonight would be 7 straight. And as we just mentioned, going back to the district change, we weren't even sure that, when we would see a district championship because Madisonville had the long district streak going when we got into the district, and for several years kept that going. But at some point, I don't know that, maybe Madisonville came back a little bit, but I think they've still got a really strong program. I think we just elevated our program to theirs.
Coach Marks at Madisonville, he's done a really good job over there. He brought stability to that program where, before he got there, I think they had about 3 or 4 coaches there in a row in 3 or 4 consecutive years.
Yeah, that hurts.
And that's hard on anybody's program. And Coach Marks and his staff's done a tremendous job in bringing stability. Those kids at Madisonville, they're playing very scrappy baseball, I guess would be the good terminology for that. And, they're junior dominated where we've got several seniors and then some underclassmen that help a lot. They're junior dominated, and they've done a really good job of building that program back to where it was.
Well, we talked about this last week a little bit, that here the Tigers set 22-6 on the season. The district favorite, probably the regional favorite going in next week over at Christian County. But it doesn't really seem like we've hit our stride yet this year, that we're still waiting for that big burst where the last couple of years we finished the year really strong, and we're kind of waiting to kick it into gear a little bit.
I think we couldn't really put our finger on that. A lot of that has to do with, we've had some injuries here or there. This has been, Coach Mack, Coach Dono, and Coach East, Joe East, and we've talked about this. In the last 3 or 4 years, we've been very fortunate. I don't know that we've had an injury, a single injury. I mean, as far as, we've had some here or there. We've had some bumps and some bruises, but, when Ty went down and then, Bryce has played hurt all year, and a lot of people don't know that. Bryce Thomas has played, he's played hurt all year long. And, it's just been some nicks here, some bumps there, some couple serious injuries here and there. And, in everybody's defense, we've played that next man up mentality, and our kids have done a really good job with that. And so.
Well, that's the thing, though. You're still 22-6. It's not like you're sitting here 13-14 trying to piece together a run in the postseason. I'm sure there's some of those games you'd like to have back, or a pitch here or there you'd like to have back, but you're still 22-6.
Yeah. 22-6 is a record I think you take every year hands down. When somebody says you can take 22-6 going in the year, you're going to take that. And the great thing about our kids is looking at that 22-6. That 6 still makes them fairly mad.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you want out of a group of kids. We got kids that are competitors, and they'll fight you no matter where you're at, and that's what you look at. Traditionally, that's what we've been at Caldwell County. We may not have the best talent, but we try to get after you a little bit on the field, and that's the mentality that we try to take with these kids too. Is the game of baseball has been around a long time. There's really no secrets.
Right.
I think Willie Mays said they throw it, I hit it, they hit it, I catch it, and that's pretty much the way it works. And with that being said, what separates your good teams from your better teams is how do you approach the game on a daily basis.
Right.
So.
Well, we talked about that some after the All-A Classic, that it was a 2-1 loss to Somerset, and I didn't feel like we played a bad game at all. I thought we played pretty well. Sometimes you've got to play a great game because the other team plays a great game, and it was a really good team.
And that's what we told the boys yesterday at practice. The beauty about sports is you have to play the game.
Yeah.
It's one of the last things we still have that you've got to earn it. Nobody's going to give it to you, and you've got to go out and you've got to earn it every single day in baseball. That's another beautiful thing about the game of baseball. It's you practice on the field as a game. You play you play every day, and you don't have to wait 2 or 3 days and play another game. You get to continually play. It can also be the down part about baseball, but it's a give and take, but it's a different game than all the rest. So.
Well, the uniqueness about baseball is that on any given day, one pitcher can really dictate how the game goes.
That's exactly right. You get a guy on the mound that's really going after you and coming right at you, and you're not touching it. It's kind of like in football. We equate it to football. It's kind of like that team that's getting 3 yards and 4 yards, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's so mentally demoralizing. It's kind of like in baseball. You get that pitcher where you just keep fouling off, and then you miss one and foul one off, and then you beat one into the ground. A pitcher can dominate a game for you.
Yeah, and then you finally hit a line drive someplace when it's right at somebody.
Yes, with somebody standing on third base. That's how this game works, and it challenges you mentally.
Yeah.
It's a mentally challenging game.
Talking about the pitching, though, because that's one area the Tigers have been blessed the last few years is the pitching department, and I think that's a lot of why you're sitting there with 6 straight district championships and the last 2 second region championships.
Oh, there's no doubt. I don't think there's any doubt in that. When you look at our pitching staff, this year we can go 5-6 deep and, really quality arms. I don't mean just throw somebody out there that can throw strikes. I mean it's going to beat you. That's a weapon. That's a weapon at any level, really. That's a weapon at high school a lot. And, again, our coaching staff looks, some of the times this year with the rain that we've had, we've really been limited. We haven't got to those guys. We weren't able to give them a lot of work there in the middle of the season, because of the weather was so awful there. And we had so many guys that we needed to get work. We really didn't get them the repetition of work that we really were looking at getting.
Yeah. Well, that's the worst thing about the 22-6 record is you only got to play 28 games, and I think you can play 36.
Right.
So that's a week and a half's worth of games that the weather took away.
Right, and on that note too, everybody was in the same boat.
Right.
Everybody was getting rained out left and right, and it was just one of those springs, and everybody out there knows that it was like it was winter wasn't going to let go. We went literally from winter to summer. I think we had one day in the 70s. Yeah. And other than that, it went straight to the mid 80s, and our kids are out there. They're like, "Good night." I'm like, well, you just didn't have a chance to get adjusted. There was no adjustment period. So.
Well, and even this week, the district tournament has been affected by the weather. Madisonville and Dawson Springs were supposed to play Monday night in the first game. That was originally at Dawson Springs. Then the game got moved to Madisonville. Then it got canceled altogether, and that kind of forced the district tournament to have to be rearranged. And the good thing was we got an extra home game out of all that.
Right. We've got a chance to play at home again when we didn't think, we thought the other day would be our last home game, and we played, I think it was Marshall County, and even that game got shortened because of rain.
Yeah.
The storm that rolled in on Saturday. So, we kind of thought that would be our last home game, but lo and behold, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And we were able to get another one, Tuesday, not yesterday, Tuesday. So, that was fun. That was neat to be at home all of a sudden. So.
The interesting thing about that was that it rained everywhere Tuesday, I think, except the ballpark.
It did. It did.
It didn't really rain at the ballpark. I wondered.
No.
Yeah.
I was out there and it rained I promise you all, I think the cutoff line was Piggly Wiggly. Or that shows my age. It was the food giant.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
I promise you all, I think the cutoff line was the food giant.
Well, see, I'm not very far from there, and I had water standing in my driveway.
Oh,
right.
wow.
So yeah, and so it's amazing how that happened. But I guess it just got washed out up in Dawson.
It literally rained, and I don't mean a hard rain. I mean a soft, steady rain for about 8 or 9 minutes, and that was it. But you could see the thunder and lightning. I mean, it went to the to the north and just to the south of the ballpark, and it was kind of amazing to see because I'm sitting there going, "Oh no, not again," and it didn't. So.
Wow.
But that's such a big deal for baseball, though, because once the district tournament starts getting pushed back, you run into pitching situations for the regional tournament, and that's something I don't think everybody realizes. And people are like, well, you can just play it Friday or Saturday. And, yes, you can, but when you start pitching people on Friday and Saturday,
throws your rotation off.
Yeah, the regional tournament starts Monday, and if you throw so many pitches Friday or Saturday, you lose that pitcher from Monday.
Yeah.
They can't come back. So that's why you'll see all the districts want to get done as quickly as possible so that you can line up your pitching for the Monday.
Correct. And, if you go into Friday and Saturday, whoever you throw that Friday and Saturday, if you extend them at all, they're out Monday because of the pitch rule, the pitch count rule. And that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's there to protect the kids, and that's a good thing. You just know going into it, you're behind the 8 ball. And that's why you really want to in a perfect world, you want to get it in on Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And, that's when most districts get it in. The 5th got it in, and the 8th got it in. So.
And what's it mean to have Ty Ramey back at least throwing some? I felt like his first outing back, even though he was limited in pitches,
Right.
he pitched well.
He did. I thought he threw really well. Ty's worked extremely hard to get back, and the injury that he had, it was just it was really when it first happened. We kind of thought, oh no, this is, but it wasn't, and it was a blessing. And he's worked his tail off to try to get back for us and pitch. And the other night I thought he did really well. His stamina, you could tell there, his stamina, and that's just part of it. You can pitch in a pen all you want to. It's kind of like the old adage: you can prepare for a press, but you don't know what the press is until it's on you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way it is in baseball. You can practice all you want to, but throwing out of a pen is different when your body's amped up and the adrenaline's flowing.
And you're in a
all
game
that.
situation.
You're in a game situation. And so, to have him back is great for us, and it's good for Ty, too.
Of course.
And talking about the regional tournament, you've obviously got a decision to make once you see the draw, which I think is Friday, of how to put together your pitching staff for that tournament.
Right, and we'll sit down and we'll cross that bridge, and tonight, really what we're looking at right here is Madisonville,
Right.
and we have to take care of business with that, and the region over the years has seemed to kind of work itself out one way or the other, and when you look about the last 2 years, we've had some young kids that have thrown that first game and stepped up for us. It allowed us to have, Shane and Luke or Shane and whomever to throw in that last game, whatever it be. And, then we had last year, we had Shane and Ty, and Ty threw a gem in that regional championship
He
game.
really did.
Shane threw a gem against Henderson, who was hot, who was really, really hot at that time. And so, for us, you have to have somebody. The first round game is so important, and you have to take it one game at a time. That's cliche for a reason. I know that's cliche.
Right, yeah.
Just like today, we can't get caught up looking at the region. We need to take care of business against Madisonville because they're coming to that game to beat us.
Yeah.
That's what they. If I'm not in their team huddles, I'm not privy to that, but I know what I'd be telling them. We're going to knock Cobble County off this year.
Well, and
this
the
is
fact
our
that they
year.
have a win over you earlier in the year, that gives them a lot of hope too.
And a win against Shane.
Yeah.
We threw Shane down there, and they won that game. And knowing Shane Burns like I know, he's chomping at the bit to get this game back. And that's what we want. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want as a coach. You want a kid that says, "Give me the ball." And that's what you want.
So he's going tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the good thing. You've got Shane ready to go, and you've got just about everybody, I guess, besides Gabe East, who's eligible to pitch.
Right.
And Briar Riley threw a couple innings the other night, and how big has he been this year?
It's been very pivotal, I think.
With Ty Ramey being out, I think Breyer's got 6 wins this year. So.
You know, I think in the major leagues, a couple of those, what do they call them? Vulture win? Is that what they call it? Yeah. But, no, he's done an excellent job for us this year, and he's been a blessing for us to have. You know, he's won a couple of big games. You know, probably the game that sticks out to me the most, and most people didn't get in to see him pitch because we were down in Tennessee for spring break. Oh, yeah. We were playing a team from Tennessee, and who was a pretty good team. And kind of like the other night, Gabe started and Breyer came in, but Breyer had to come in about the 3rd or 4th inning, and we were down. We were down. I think it was 3-1, 3-0, 4-1, something in that area. Anyway, we came back and won that game, and you know he held them at bay, and that kind of showed us right there, you know, that he's got a competitiveness to him, and he won that big game against Henderson early in the year too.
Yeah.
And so he's thrown some bigger games for us.
And the pitching, we always come back to pitching in baseball. That's what they always say, you know, the 3 most important things in baseball, pitching, and pitching. But I think the bar is set so high sometimes that,
what's he doing?
You know,
look at there.
You look at the loss to Somerset in the All-A Classic.
We got to interrupt that. I've never had anybody stop in the street and do a baseball swing and call a shot, though. Shall I say who it is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jeff Sims. So I've never had somebody stop in the middle of the road and call his shot. So sorry about that.
I was just going to say that, you know.
That's hilarious.
I think we've set our standards so high for our pitching staff that, you know, even at the All-A Classic, people are like, well, what happened to Shane? I'm like, he missed on like 2 pitches the whole game. He threw a great game. He just, you know, sometimes you can pitch really well. I think if you go back to the state tournament games against Scott County, he pitched well. There's games where we've lost where guys have pitched well. It's just you can't expect everybody to go out and throw a no-hitter every day.
No, and you know, our pitching staff for the most part. You go back and look at the stats. Our pitching staff has been rock solid.
Oh yeah,
it's been rock solid.
I think if you look at like the team ERA, it's around 2 or something.
Yes, very much so. And not only that, when you look at the strikeout to walk ratio.
Yeah.
You know, to me as a coach, that's one of the things you look at. If your pitcher's on the mound and he's giving up walk after walk, well, there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't defend. You know, the old adage in baseball, you can't defend a walk. There's nothing you can do to defend a walk. But if a kid's up there and he's hitting a double or they've earned that.
Yeah.
You know, you tip your hat to him and by that standard, they've won that battle for that time. And but you know, when you got guys on the mound competing and pounding the zone, and you know, you come to the ballpark, that's a lot of times what you'll hear come out of our dugout. You know, you go right at it, pound the zone. You know, I think you know the Cardinals of the 2000s. You know, with their pitching coach and LaRussa as their manager, and you know Duncan as their pitching coach.
Yeah.
You know, they did a good job of when you look back at that teaching. Pitching to contact, or pitching to contact where you want the contact, not where the batter wants the contact. You know, and a lot of that is true. And you know, when we've got a defense behind our pitchers like we've been able to run out there, you're going to win most of your ball games.
It's okay to let them put it in play because you got the defense back there. If you get a ground ball or whatever,
Yes.
That's what I think I've noticed that's been so great about the way you handle that is that, you know, we've got guys out there in the field that, for the most part, when they have an opportunity in the field, they're going to field it cleanly and they're going to do what they have to do.
Yes,
and make good decisions as to where they get the ball back in, especially if it goes to the outfield. You know, they're hitting the right cutoff man or whatever. That might save you some runs.
Right.
The biggest thing that I've seen though, Todd, and we've talked about this, is when we talk about those, we go to the other side when you have those walks or those passes, those base on balls. They end up getting you a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
I think, especially when you have those, especially in high school. There's either a bad throw or somebody lays down a good bunt, and eventually that run, that base runner comes around to score.
Right, and a lot of that, Ty, what you're talking about, a lot of that goes back to, like what we said earlier. There's really no secret to this game.
Mm.
Yeah, and a lot of that goes to you just got to play it,
mm-hmm.
and you got to play it from a young age, and you got to keep playing it, and you make those step ups and levels, and the game speeds up to you, and you learn some different things, and you do that, and that's one of the things over the last 4 or 5 years that we've had a lot. We've had guys that have played the game throughout their years, and
since they were
right, and they've played it a lot, and that's the same way with any sport. If you're going to be good in basketball, you got to spend a little time in a gym. You can't just pick up the ball and go out there, in November through March and expect to be a great basketball player. Same thing with football. You got to spend time in the weight room. You got to spend time on the field. You got to spend time doing the different things. And it's the same way with baseball, and that's what we've had.
Yeah, I was going to say that's you look at the senior class.
And this group of seniors, especially.
They're all baseball players.
Yeah.
They've obviously played other sports growing up, but I would say most of them are just, or at least consider themselves, baseball players.
They do, and we've had a really good run with that, but we've also had really good runs with multi-sport players.
Yeah.
And living in Caldwell County, now that we'll talk about this for a second, I guess, but living in Caldwell County, we have to share athletes.
Yeah.
And we've got great athletes that play multi-sports, and as a coach, I'll be honest, that's what kind of I want, because in football,
you played 3 sports,
right? And football, you develop skills that you're not going to develop in baseball, and in baseball, you're going to develop skills that you don't in football, and the same thing with basketball. You're just going to do that, and plus, you get to hear somebody else getting on your butt a little bit, and you get to develop those skills that other coaches bring to the table too, and we really need kids to play when they're young. Play as many sports as you want to. Coach Barnes and I talked about this, and Coach Kukihiko. With the kids we've had recruited, one of the things that coaches ask us all, and the players, what other sports you play? They want them playing other sports.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the big conundrum, though, is that anytime you hear a college coach or a recruiter talk about it, what other sports did they play? But then when you hear, somebody else talk about it, it's, well, we have to specialize in this one sport to try to get a scholarship.
And there's several schools out there. I think you're in one camp or in the other. But I think it certainly helps out with reducing. You stay limber, use a lot of the same muscles. Right. It probably helps to reduce injury. And then somebody might say, well, they're on the field more often or they're doing that. But I would think as you work muscles, as you use different parts of your body, it just conditions them and make them that much tougher.
It does. Yeah. And I think it not only physically tougher, I think it makes you mentally tougher, because each sport offers a different venue that you have to master mentally and physically. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I only want baseball players playing 2 months out of the year either. But play as much as you can, but not to negate any of the other sports that you love to play, and especially early on. I think when you're when you're an 8th grader, a freshman, or sophomore, or junior, or whatever it might be, play them. Play them and have fun doing it. Don't apologize to anybody, really, if that's what you like to do.
Because it's supposed to be fun.
Right. That's what it's supposed to be.
Well, and sports also offer structure. I think a lot of times you'll see students that are better students while their season is in season, whatever sport that is, just because they have that,
have a routine
structure. To kind of get things done.
Right.
You have to at that point because it's going to keep you busy.
Yeah. Right. And, it's fun. And a side note to that is, the community of Princeton and Caldwell County does such a great job of supporting all of our athletics. And, baseball is no different. But, we hear, even, I'll get a text from time to time from Coach Tomic or Coach Gates or some of those, guys that I played for, Coach Boyd. And, that means a lot.
And we need to shout out to the Tiger of the Day today, Coach Tomic. It's his birthday today.
Oh, okay.
He is the Tiger of the Day. So happy
25.
birthday, DT. Somewhere around 25, I think. That's the rumor that he's 25, somewhere around there. And if you guys want to chime in and add anything to it, feel free to at 270-963-9038. That's the text line. So, but yeah, big kudos and shout out to DT.
Well, as we were mentioning, it's a championship Thursday. Baseball and softball district championships both tonight. Both of them are Caldwell County versus Madisonville, and that's something else, wanted to get back to the whole district thing. We talked earlier about when we moved into the district that Madisonville kind of owned everything. Hopkins County Central kind of had a run in softball there for a little while, but it really looked like Caldwell County might get lost in the 7th district. But I think a lot of sports, including baseball and, softball is getting there again too, have stepped up. Soccer, girls soccer won a district championship the last 2 years over Madisonville. You just have to – we could get into the whole classification thing if we wanted to and be here another hour. But but I think we've seen a lot of our sports step up the last few years. And, we've talked about it a lot that it's been a really good run, and sometimes you get a little spoiled. But I think, if you look at all the sports programs of the teams in the 7th district, Caldwell County stacks up pretty well.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I'll throw his name out there. When we first moved, I talked to, I talk a lot with Mike Johnson, a lot back and
Yeah.
forth. He's meant a lot to me over the years, and he said, well, Bradley, you got one or two choices. You can either cry about it or you can figure out how to fix it. And, I think that's what we tried to go about doing, and I think the other sports did too. And, while we're in here, and I'll stay as long as y'all want me to, but I'd also like to give, I guess the young guys call it a shout-out.
Yeah.
Our softball team's done an excellent job this year. They've had a great season.
They have.
Our girls have had a great season, and it's been fun to watch them come to school with smiles on their faces and that kind of thing. And we wish them nothing but the best tonight too.
Yeah.
And I think they believe they can play with
and
them
it
now.
tears you apart now with the weather. You've got to. You can't cover both of them at the same time. I can't, I mean, you kind of can because
we need to get those things at the same place.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Is there a reason they're not?
I think it's just I really don't know that answer, Todd. I don't have a clue to that answer, so I'd be lying if I said anything
but that's,
else. I don't know.
For us in the media, it's really difficult. You want to be there.
Years ago, the 5th District always had baseball and softball at different sites. And, I worked on everybody forever to get them to change that, and they did right about the time that Caldwell County got moved to the 7th District, where they don't play at the same site anymore.
Yeah.
So to me, it just makes sense to play all your games. I mean, it doesn't work out perfect in the 7th District because Dawson doesn't play baseball and softball on the same spot, and Madisonville doesn't either.
Right.
But at least you're in the same
At least
city.
you're in the same town.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break, Todd.
Okay.
And we will. We've got another guest in studio here. Do you want to tell everybody about ABC Finance coming on board to sponsor the Sideline Report? It's that time of year. It may be something you have a home improvement around your home or something you need getting done, maybe just a little short of extra cash. Well, see Jody, Sarah, or Virginia, the folks out at ABC Finance, they're at the 62 West out in Princeton Plaza. They will fix you up, and we certainly appreciate them coming on board and sponsoring the Sideline Report. We'll come back. It's 9:33. You're listening to the Sideline Report on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger.
Whether it's a new addition to your home, a family vacation, or just keeping up with the bills, let ABC Finance and its friendly staff help you with your needs. ABC Finance can help you get through the tough times and the good times. Whatever life throws your way, ABC Finance can help. So stop by and see Jody, Sarah, or Virginia today at ABC Finance, located on 62 West, the Princeton Plaza in Princeton. Phone 270-365-7444.
And at 9:34, we're back on the Sideline Report with Todd Griffin and Bradley Stallins in studio as well.
Yeah, we've been talking. It's a busy Thursday morning for us. Tyler Dixon from the Kentucky New Era has joined us in the studio. So we've got a full house now. And Tyler, how's things going over in Hopkinsville?
Good. I heard you all talking about districts in the same place. We're lucky to have them in the same place down in the 8th. Rain kind of got us a little off schedule. But we wrapped up our 8th district last night, so yeah.
And over there, the good thing is that you have your facilities
exactly
side by side.
I mean, Hopkinsville. That's what I did on Monday. I just walked back and forth between the two. In Christian County, you can do the same. University Heights are right there. I mean, everything is very close together. It's really, really convenient.
Yeah, we need to get the 7th district on board with that, and I'm not really sure why it's not. I don't think there was ever a concerted effort made to have them at separate spots. I think it just probably it worked out that way. Maybe one year somebody didn't have a team and they were supposed to host and it skipped them. But I know it's a difficult task to try to put those things on. And, hats off to Dawson Springs for the baseball thing because, Bradley, I think when they came over here or when the games were played here Tuesday, the Dawson people are over here taking up money. Yeah.
They did, and they came over. They graciously said, "Sure, we'll play this thing wherever we can get it in." Because at that point, the rest of us coaches were scrambling. Like, look, we're really about to be behind the 8 ball here. So, they allowed it to be moved and to wherever it was going to be. We had all 3 sites that they were open to move it to, and like we talked about earlier, the rain missed us. I think it poured all over in Madisonville and Hopkins County, that area, and it missed us, and they were able to move here, and they brought their gate workers and. Miss Mills, their AD, does a great job, and she had the program ready. She just kind of handed it over to our people with the PA and did all the, the notifications and all that kind of stuff. So it was a great partnership on their part.
Well, that's the question I would like to ask everybody: is there a reason? Is it easier to host one or the other, or would the schools rather have both at the same time? I really don't know.
I think that would be an AD question. I don't know. I think that's one of those. Do you want to spread it out, or do you want to get it all over with at once? From that standpoint. So I don't know that answer.
Well, talking about the 8th district, I think both tournaments over there finished?
Both wrapped up. Christian County and Hopkinsville in both, champion and runner-up. So it's baseball a little bit not easier, but a little bit got to play it out. Softball, I think we all kind of knew how that one was going to go. Christian County this year is just so good. But, I mean, talk about baseball. I heard you all talking a while. Christian County, Hopkinsville, a lot of injuries last couple weeks. I know Dalton Barron's, the lone Hopkinsville senior, is hurt. I know they have a couple others. So the injury bug really has hit 8th District baseball pretty bad this year.
It looks to me like in the region as a whole, in softball, I think Christian County has kind of emerged as the overall favorite, which is weird since you have the defending state champion, Madisonville, in the region too. On the baseball side, I think Caldwell County is still the favorite.
Yep.
But I think Christian County and Christian County and Henderson County are both closing the gap.
I think Union on the baseball side is right there as well. But like you said in softball, I was thinking about this on the way up here. Christian County is not necessarily the underdog because when you're top 10 in the state, it's really hard to be an underdog. But they haven't had the target on their back as much in recent years. It's been Madisonville. But I was at the first game up at Madisonville, and I saw the second game against McCracken, and I like what Christian County has. I mean, obviously they hit the ball. I think they had 7 on the all-district team last night. Could have easily had all 9 starters on there. But I think it's a different dynamic for them to be kind of the top dog going into next week, and we'll see how they kind of respond.
Well, it's interesting because Caldwell County and Christian County met in a scrimmage before the season. Caldwell County actually won one of those games. Now it's a preseason scrimmage, so those aren't played the same way you'd play a regular season thing. But I think Caldwell County is kind of knocking on the door, too. I would probably say Christian County and Madisonville, I think, have to be the 2 softball favorites. Webster County is probably right behind them, and then Caldwell County might be the next team.
Yeah. I mean, you throw Carly Keeney from Webster,
yeah,
any game. I think she's top 10 in strikeouts, right up there in ERA as well. So, and pretty much every team has one pitcher that you can kind of throw out there, and that's what you got to do. You got to win that first game in the region.
Be interesting to see how the region draw goes. That's Friday, I believe, for both baseball and softball, which I think is great because I get it in Saturday's paper. So
that's always a plus.
Yes, that is true.
They're the one that plays for them.
That's the way I look at things.
Yeah,
things
of course.
work on a Tuesday, Friday
Can I
schedule.
get it in the paper?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's just going to be. I think you looking at all the teams, softball side, baseball side. If somebody's hot, I mean, at this time of year, we all know in these tournaments that it's about the team that's hot, and that's that way in baseball and softball, and you just never know, and that's what's so fun about it. You got to get out there and play it.
The one thing I've noticed when you get to the regional tournament, especially, postseason games are played a lot closer to the vest than regular season games are. You might have played somebody a 12-10 game during the regular season, and you see that same team again. It ends up being 2-1.
Yeah,
I think that you make a good point. Just a little bit more on the line, just a little bit of a tenseness maybe to the players. But I think the team, as you see it at different levels, at the college level and at the pro level, the team that plays loose usually seems to me has an advantage. But that's hard to do in those situations.
And Tyler made a good point about Christian County not having that bullseye on them this year.
Right.
If you're looking at baseball, I think Caldwell County has that bullseye.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody in the region's shooting for them, and Christian County the last couple of years have been bumped out in the first round of the regional tournament. So Caldwell County kind of caught a break there, not having to play them at the region.
That's why it was kind of rough this year because obviously they had that big lead last year on Union in the first round of the region. Had a really rough 6th inning, and then this year they played Union down in Hopkinsville, had a big lead again. Union came back. So I know that kind of messed with their psyche a little bit. But like you said, a little bit closer to the vest. I know I'm in the 8th District. That 2-3 game is always really interesting, especially for baseball. This year, UHA, heck of a season. I mean, Drew McGowan, going to Mississippi State, great pitcher. He can have you in any game. It was really close last year against Hopkinsville. But, again, that's that 2-3. It's really, really important to throw that number 1 guy out.
Caldwell County saw that last year with University Heights in the first round of the region tournament. UHA had a great chance to win that game.
That was a marathon game. I feel like that went on forever.
You're not the only one.
Yeah. Well, I think when you go into the region tournament, and we talked about it earlier, you have to set your pitching up a certain way. And, I think if you go in and if you're a Caldwell County or a Christian County or a Henderson County, and maybe a Union County, I'm not sure, but I think you're setting up your pitching with the idea of we've got to play 3 games and we've got to win 3 games to win the region. Not everybody goes into the region tournament with those aspirations. A lot of teams, that first game, they're throwing their number 1 pitcher because it's just for them, it's how long can we stay in the tournament. So, if you're a big dog, you might have your number 2 or number 3 guy or number 4 guy on the mound, but you're playing somebody's number 1, which kind of evens the playing field.
That's what I kind of think might have been Christian County's downfall last year. I think they were kind of prepared, like you said, that second and third day. But, you got to play the first one to get to the second one.
Well, and that's interesting, and we have a baseball coach here, so we could ask.
Yeah, he'd be a good one enough.
You have to go into the tournament. If you're trying to win the thing, you have to set up your pitching to try to win it. And I think the prevailing thought is if we lose in the first round or we lose in the championship, we still lost.
Right. And, that's kind of what we've done the last 2 years is, our philosophy's been, if you're going to win it, then try to win it. So if you get beat in the first game or the championship game, if you throw your 1 and 2 and you win the first 2 games and then you have to bring in your 3 for relief or your 4 for relief, then you're sitting there in a championship game throwing your 5 against somebody's 2 or 1. Now you're asking for a miracle, kind of. You know what I'm saying? You're asking for one of those storybook performances from a kid that probably hasn't been in that position. And that stuff happens. Don't get me wrong, it happens. But, there's 2 different thoughts on that. There's the thought that we've kind of went into it with, and then there's the one that you all are saying, and it's true. You have to win the first one before you get you don't want to throw your 7 or 8. You don't want to throw, some, a JV guy out there or anything like that. But y'all are asking, so the last 2 years, Gabe threw against, I think it was Crittenden County in 16.
Yes.
Again, the first game, and it was a freshman.
As a freshman,
As a freshman. And, that Crittenden County team was scrappy, and they were good.
And that was a close game.
That was a close game, and we were able to get by that one. And matter of fact, we had to bring in Luke, I think, to close that game out. Because what I'm thinking is, if I can remember correctly, Luke Brown closed from, I'm pretty sure we had to bring him in against Madisonville to close that championship game in the district. So I think he closed from the district championship game all the way to the
I think he had 4 straight saves.
I think he had 4 straight saves that year. So, that was, you were talking about pitching earlier. That's
well, and the interesting thing is, 2 years ago, the championship game actually was suspended in the 4th or 5th inning against Union County, and we were about to run out of pitching in that game. Well, you come back the next day, and all of a sudden, Luke Brown, who wasn't eligible to pitch the previous day, became eligible again to pitch, and he got to finish. That rain delay was great for Caldwell County.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that, baseball's a different animal, and you have to have your pitching set up. And I think to win the region, you can't do it with 1 or 2 guys. Ty and I talked last week about, years ago, Fort Campbell had this one kid that was a great pitcher. He pitched every game they had that year. They played 3 games in the regional tournament back to back to back, and that one kid pitched every day. He was their pitcher.
And you just can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's just not a good way to. But back in the day, if you've got that one stud pitcher, that's what people used to do.
Yep. If you want to chime in or have anything to add to our discussion here, feel free to at 270-963-9038. That's the text line. Just shoot us a text if you got any thoughts about what we're talking about. We're really talking about we're talking baseball and softball. Maybe a little bit more baseball today. So we got a baseball coach. We have Tyler Dixon here. He is the sports editor of the Kentucky New Era over in Hopkinsville. He's trying to get us an Emma update.
She's on the course.
She's on the course. She teed off at 7:21 this morning, and right now I believe she is 1 over through 7.
She's playing today with Moria Jatanagarn.
Yeah, and I'm not
just like to say.
How long did you practice that?
Yeah, Jatanagarn.
I like this one here, and I don't know the flag.
I actually had to ask how to say it.
The Thanapole Boonerus or something like that.
No, I don't know that one.
Yeah, you need to check it out. There's more letters in there than my last name.
But there's 2 Jatanagarns, and they used to play on the junior tour when Emma was on that. There's Moria and Aria.
Well, Maria's shooting a -2 right now.
Well, I think Aria won last week's tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
I think she did. So the Jatanagarns are doing
Jatanagarn.
just fine. Yeah, they're doing just fine. So Jatanagarn. Yeah. So Hope I said that right.
Jatanagarn.
Jatanagarn. I don't want the Howard Stern rule to come in when you say that one. You might get in trouble. So let's take another break. Okay, get our thoughts together, and we're about a quarter till. If we go a little over, that's okay. And Todd, remind you, it's that time of year where people want to do work in their lawn, and you can get some quality hardwood mulch out of Bashir Sawmill by the truckload, $25. We'll hear from them. We appreciate them. They're aboard the Sideline Report train, and we certainly appreciate all the folks out of Bashir Sawmill. They've been in business here in Princeton, Caldwell County for a long time. They buy standing timber and timberland as well. Give them a call. Bashir Sawmill in Princeton. Get spruced up this spring with quality mulch from Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road in Princeton. We all know buying mulch by the truckload saves money, and it's only $25 per load for dark natural mulch at Bashir Sawmill on the Dawson Road, 1/2 mile past City County Park. Bashir Sawmill also buys standing timber and timberland. Give them a call today, 270-365-2330. That's Bashir Sawmill, family owned and operated in Princeton for over 50 years. And nothing like having 5 microphones turned up at the same time. Glad I didn't. I would have needed the Howard Stern rule as we're talking about our chairs in here. I about said a bad word. I think used the English word. It starts with an A. You might fall on it. But I did not. So here we go. Hope that you got entertained. Maybe the spot was over that. So when you got all these mics turned up, you got to be careful. So I'm looking forward to forward to DT and Gator coming back.
When does that start?
We haven't really decided yet. A lot of times we'll start in late July as we head into football season. So don't have quite a timetable on that, but you're talking about having to keep the microphones turned down. I'm just kidding. But anyway, it's your show. It's the Sideline Report. Back here with Todd Griffin. Go ahead. Take it away.
Well, we've got Bradley Stallins, the Caldwell County head baseball coach, in the studios, and Tyler Dixon from the Kentucky New Era. And Tyler, how do you kind of see the second region tournament fields? How do you think that was going to shake out this year?
Like you all said earlier, I think it kind of all depends on the draw. We were talking the other day during the championship game for softball. We're like, great, Hopkinsville, you're in. Great, you get Christian County, and then you could get Madisonville.
Right.
I mean, congrats. But like you said, it's all about the draw. Softball, Christian County, I have to lean that way. But Madisonville, I think that's going to be our region championship again if that shakes out that way. Baseball, I realize I'm in a very Caldwell-heavy room, but I will have to go with Caldwell. I've seen them a couple times this year against UHA in the All-A, and I walked by Ty and I thought, how tall is he?
He's about 6'6", about 6'5".
And just, with Shane and everybody else, I just think that's kind of the most complete roster. You do have guys that stand out on other teams. Trey over in Union. You got Wyatt Stevenson and Lane Duguid in Christian County. You do have kind of guys that stand out, but I think top to bottom, it's Caldwell County. I think that's kind of how it's going to shake out.
Yeah, I think the draw is going to be really important. Even if you go in as a district champion in baseball, though, there's Henderson County and Union County over there, and you're going to maybe get one of those guys. So there's not really an easy draw.
And I think it's going to be tough. I think that's what, in me being only here for, I guess, one full season, what I learned last year in the region tournament, it doesn't matter if you are that number 2 or that number 1. You're going to have a tough game because if you get to this point, especially in baseball, it's going to be difficult. And I think, Crittenden showed us that. It doesn't matter if you're the 3 or the 4. In basketball or baseball, Crittenden has been getting it done. So, like I said, I think it depends on how it shakes out, but you got to come to play. That's a big thing. It's a lot of games and not a lot of days. You got to come to play.
And in softball, the draw is going to be big because if Christian and Madisonville end up on the same side, then you're kind of opening the door on the other side, somebody to slip in to get to that championship game.
And that's how it was for region basketball this year. UHA on the boys' side got on the bottom side of that bracket. They had pretty much a clear path to the region championship game, and they used it to their advantage.
It's better than it used to be, though, because there was a time when the region draw was 8 teams and you just drew them all out of a hat. You could and did draw another champion or your own district mate sometimes in the first round.
How do they do it now?
It's district champions are paired against district runners-up.
Yeah, district runners-up, okay.
So if you win your district, the Tiger of the Day?
Huh?
Is that how you do the Tiger of the Day?
That's how I do the Tiger of the Day. I keep it locked up in the balls.
No. Well, unfortunately, I knew we were going to be busy today, so we passed on our top 5 today.
We did. I had somebody ask us about it.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, it'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have the top 5 back at some
It'll
point.
be back.
But I don't know if you guys want to throw out your favorite wrestlers or favorite Marvel.
I can do favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
Being a SIU alum, SIU Carbondale.
All right.
Obviously, Macho Man Randy Savage, because he went
Exactly.
to SIU.
Yeah.
That's always kind of been one I grew up with. I had the little pillow that was him.
And
Whenever
played
I
in the
was
St.
out.
Louis Cardinals baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
organization.
Yeah. Quite an
Few people
athlete.
don't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of took mine. Mine was going to be Macho Man, but it was
They
also
all
like,
like the Macho Man.
but also the Ultimate Warrior. I always liked his look. You know, he came running into the ring all the time. I kind of always thought that was neat. You know.
Oh yeah. And you know, this is a fun time of year. I mean, it's winding down. You know, school's pretty much most everybody's done, but the sports keeps rolling, and you know, it sort of lets everybody kind of go in a way. But I know for you coaches, for us in the media, you know, we're hyped up and we're excited about trying to get everybody covered and, you know, rooting for our teams. You know, we try to be not so biased as a sport, but you and I are Tigers. We're Tigers, you know. We want our Tigers to do well. But it's a lot of fun to watch these young athletes get out there and perform on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for their parents, for the coaches, it's just a good feeling, man, when you get in these tournaments in the districts in the region.
I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was like, "Okay, everybody's kind of winding down." I'm like, "Nope, we're ramping up." Like, I got to go to Lexington for 3 days for track last week. We got baseball region, softball region, and hopefully a state trip in there. I'm like, this is the time where it kind of amps up a little bit.
Well, and the state track meet was fun for everybody up there, the media especially.
Oh, it was a heck of a trip. Yeah, very, very wet.
We've heard the tales of the media tent from the state track meet.
I had to swim out after about an hour into the rain delay on Friday, and there were a lot of people that stayed. The KHSAA, in their infinite wisdom, put us right in the middle of a hole.
Oh.
And the river ran right through us and into the drain.
Oh.
But it was we had a lot of electronics, a lot of cameras around, all hooked up to the outlets. So it was fun.
Yeah. People don't realize. Well, we do because we're in the media,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people don't realize what all you have to do to go cover a meet or cover a game or get ready. And you know, we've been talking about how we wish the 7th District baseball and softball was at the same place so that we could cover them both. Well, you guys have. You know, the 8th District's at the same place, but you guys are also covering the 5th District, and you're covering Todd County.
Yeah.
So it's
you're spread out.
It's a logistical challenge there too.
It's really interesting just because with track, I know we have the 3 classes and everything, so you do kind of get a break that way, but you have to, and like you said, we got Trig on the west side of our coverage area and Todd on the east side, and we don't get to those as much as we would like, but it is hard. I know, especially in this area, you don't have that many towns that are right next to each other.
Right.
I mean, Katie's, like I said, is 20 minutes. Elkton is 25 minutes. And it's not like you can think of inventive ways to get places.
Yeah.
You have to go one straight shot to Katie's and straight shot to Elkton. Yeah. So it does get kind of repetitive. But I mean, like you said, this is one of the best times of the year. I'm a huge basketball fan. I love that time. But baseball was my first love. I grew up going to Cardinal games, and so this is definitely one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah, Ty, you are outnumbered as far as baseball fandom goes.
Yeah, I've got 3 Cardinal fans.
Yeah,
I know.
Very much so.
And I like the Cardinals, but I'm a Braves man. So
okay.
So we finally got a spunky team this year.
Yeah,
a bunch of youngsters.
You do. We talked about that the other day in the office. I'm like, there's no Toms or Johns or Gregs, but you got everybody else.
And there's all kinds of different names on there.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of rookies that are hitting the ball. There's rookie pitchers that are pitching gems, and I mean they've got a pretty good record. I think if they can maintain it all year, we'll see.
Everybody in this area seems to fall into one of 3 camps. You're either a Cardinals fan, or you're a Braves fan, or you're a Cubs fan.
All of a sudden.
Well, and I think, I think.
Except for the 5 that I knew before 2 years ago.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think the issue is that a lot of people are Cardinals fans because obviously it's the closest
Will Brown's
team.
Getting ready to text us and say, "What about the Cincinnati Reds?"
Well, I think they're like next on that list.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's a Braves and a Cubs fan because when we were growing up, The Braves were on Superstation
TBS.
TBS all the time.
Yeah, no doubt about
the
it.
Cubs were on WGN,
Yes.
so you could see every game.
Yeah.
I think that's how people kind of picked up those. And there's probably some older people that were just Cubs fans or whatever, but it seems to me like the majority of the people in this area are either Cardinals or Braves or Cubs fans.
I cherished coming home from school and businessman special at Wrigley Field before the lights were there.
Yeah.
You come on, turn on WGN
Yeah.
back in the 80s, man.
Yeah,
And
it was every afternoon.
It was
That's how you
awesome.
had to catch the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Whether they played at Atlanta or Chicago, or
Yeah,
hopefully
that's
the
right.
game of the
Yeah.
week on a Saturday. That was about it. That's all
But
we-
the one thing about the Cardinals that just gives me chills, I'm chilling. I don't know if you can see, I got chill bumps. Is just, man, the days of Buck and Shannon.
Oh, yeah.
On the radio, because for us working in radio, we used to work a lot of those games, and you had to run our local spots over the Cardinal. And man, there's nothing better of a summer night, maybe a storm moving through here. You got the game on, and you got Buck and Shannon on the radio. It was nothing like it.
Yeah, I always wanted the radio station here to cover it because, I try to pick it up in the car. And if I go one way, I could get WCBL in Benton.
That's right. Yeah.
And if I went the other way, I get WMSK in Morganfield.
Yeah.
But if you're in town,
you couldn't get it. If you're in Princeton, you couldn't get it.
But there's nothing like this game of baseball. There's some truth to it. I mean, there's some great sports out there, but there is a science to it. There's a myth to it. There's a emotion to it. There's not a game quite like.
And sometimes there's a randomness to it.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And we know that you might have the best 9 guys out there. You might have the best pitching out there. But sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. And that's what makes this game, I think, totally unique and so much fun to watch because you just never know.
It is. It's probably as fickle as any of them.
Oh, no
as
doubt
far
about
as
it.
because it's not so much as what Todd talked about. I can talk about this all day. It's not so much about a team matchup as it is individual matchups played as a team, and it's that's what makes baseball unique a little bit as opposed to the other sports. But while I'm here, I do want to say a couple things. Thank you all since we got the newspaper and the radio here. You all do an excellent job, and I'm not just talking about baseball. I'm talking about all the sports that we have. You make a big deal in a small town, and that makes it fun for our kids. I know people say the newspapers are still going out, and I know we got another newspaper guy. Kids still pick up newspaper.
Yeah.
Kids still pick up newspapers to see if their pictures in it, if there's
Yeah.
if their stories are in it. They still listen to the radio. I guarantee you. You're talking about Shane.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, we've got kids listening to this.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I just want to say, as a coach from Princeton in Caldwell County, I'd like to say thank you all for covering our area. And a lot of kids across the country, they don't get this coverage at all, especially in small town settings like we have. Hoptown to us is a big city.
Yeah.
But even then,
my hometown has like 800. This hometown is a big city.
So even then, it's still kind of a smaller town, to the rest of America, and a lot of our kids don't get the coverage. Our kids get coverage where a lot of kids in the United States don't get the coverage, and it makes it makes it kind of what it is. So I just want to say thank you to all of y'all that are in here.
And kind of to piggyback what you said, I've been in this area now almost a year and a half. Whenever I came here, I know we are under kind of the same umbrella, Todd, but you were kind of the standard. I mean, that's what everyone talked about. Like Todd Griffin, no one does it better than him. I mean, Chris Young, and I heard about Joe Wilson, all those guys that were at the New Era before. But just coming here, there's such a rich tradition of not only athletics and just the high quality of athletes, but just the media around here. I mean, you can go to any town and there's somebody there that is from that town that knows everything. I know I can ask you anything, Caldwell. I can call Scott Brown. I can ask him anything, Trick County. I think we're really, really special in that respect because, like Coach said, a lot of times, like I know where I'm from, the closest city is about an hour, and they don't get down to cover schools. So I think it's a really special thing that we're lucky enough to have as many media outlets that care and put in the time around here.
Well, I remember talking to a couple of guys at, I think it was a basketball tournament not too long ago, and I said, I really hate you guys because you make me have to work so hard to keep up with you. and I think Kevin Patton from the Henderson Gleaner actually tweeted out something like that back during basketball season, that because all the other sports guys work so hard, he has to work extra hard. And I'm like, well, that's how I've always felt because I see everybody else. And, Chris Young was all over the place when he was over there, and you guys are all over the place. And when you see the guys from the Paducah Sun and everything, and it's like, well, dang, I've got to work harder now to try to keep up with
and
those
I think
guys.
that was unheard of, back when we first started in this business. You just didn't quite see it that way. And then social media,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
another thing that is
yeah.
totally transformed and changed. We can talk about that forever, but how we do our jobs.
And that's the thing. You see all these people on Twitter, but you may see them 3 times a year at the state tournament. I know I hung out with Josh Moore and Elliot Pratt and Al and Ed and Paducah are an hour away. I see them maybe once a month, once every couple months.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of brought us all a little bit closer together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is fun, the relationships that we develop.
Yeah, and that's the great thing is that, we make comments on each other's posts on Twitter or whatever, and I don't think I've ever met Josh Moore.
Yeah,
But,
that's what we had dinner on Friday night, and Ed's like, I don't know who Elliot is. I'm like, don't you guys? Yeah, he goes, we talk on Twitter all the time, but I don't think I've ever met him. And that's how it is you'll see guys at state meets, and you'll be like, oh, hey, and it's like you've known each other for a long time, but you just know each other through that outlet.
And that's a cool aspect of all
Oh,
this.
yeah.
It really is. So, going to be fun, man, as we head into all our district, and of course districts wrapping up for a lot of folks, and we head into the region. So it'll be fun to see how it all shakes out.
7th District Championships tonight. Baseball, Caldwell County and Madisonville in Dawson Springs, right?
Right,
At
yes,
Riverside
Dawson
Park.
Springs.
Yeah.
Softball is Caldwell County and Madisonville over at Hopkins County Central. Both games start at 6 o'clock. I'll be at baseball. Gary Goodacre is going to
Be at
do
softball.
softball for me, so
Good.
I've got those covered.
We'll be at baseball, and hopefully we will send out some retweets. We always retweet what Todd does, put on our Facebook page, and we just certainly wish we could be at both of them. Maybe one of these days, logistically, we'll get all that worked out. But good luck to our Lady Tigers and our Tigers tonight.
Hopefully at some point we can get somebody tweeting on every school in the second region. That'd be sweet. We're pretty close.
Yeah, we are. We
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
But between all the media outlets, you can just about find out any.
Get an update from time to time.
And that's the thing that, even 10 years ago, you'd sit there and try to find out who won the 6th district or the 7th district or the 8th district, and sometimes it was a lot of work just to get a score. And now, you pull your phone out and there's everybody's score.
I was
and you're
looking
ready
for a
to go.
score the other night. I texted you immediately, got it right back.
Also, Game Changer has
Oh,
been.
It's totally made it different, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to attempt to live stream tonight as well from Riverside Park, and again, we'll give it an attempt. Hopefully, the internet service will work out tonight. So, if you can't make the game, we'll definitely try to do that as well. And then, as we move into the regional tournament, stay tuned for that as well.
Riverside Park is such a great park, and it was such a great idea to put that park there. I know we talked earlier, last week about how the lighting wasn't the best, and you don't want to get stuck playing the late game over there. And sometimes the field can be a little rough because it floods every spring. But man, it's a cool place to go play.
It
and,
is. Neat place to see a game.
If you have a chance to go watch the game tonight, head over there or
Yes.
head over and watch the girls. A chance for the Lady Tigers to knock off the defending state champions
yes.
in the district championship game. And Caldwell County got a win over Central Hardin Saturday at McCracken County, and that's a ranked
17,
team.
weren't
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
So this would be a chance for Lady Tigers to really, make some noise in the postseason.
And that'll change everything.
Yeah.
If Caldwell,
Oh, yeah.
that makes tomorrow morning a lot more interesting.
Well, somebody's going to have to play one of those teams.
Yeah.
We get back to that no easy draw kind of things.
Right.
Well, from the 7th district, you've got Madisonville and Caldwell in softball one way or another. You've got Webster or Henderson from the 6th. I mean, there's going to be some good teams.
No
So
doubt about it.
You got Hannah Colbert at Trigg.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Oh,
have
yeah.
you have
they've
a
had
lot.
a great season.
Yeah.
And they're going in as a runner-up because Crittenden County beat them
That's
in
right.
the 5th district.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
good luck with your draws.
Right.
and that was a shake-up. I mean,
Yeah.
that really shook that up over there. But yeah, so they're going in as the runner-up. But that's great. I mean, Hannah Colbert is a beast
Oh,
on the
jeez.
mound.
I think she's actually maybe top 5.
Yeah,
in
is that
right?
strikeouts.
Wow.
Or
think
something
so.
at one
I think
time.
so,
Yeah, I think she was
So,
2 or 3 at one point.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun.
And I think Shane Burns is maybe 5th in the state in strikeouts.
Something
which
like
is,
that.
Which
So
is
pretty close, I think.
pretty good because the 4 guys in front of him have all pitched
Probably a game
9
or
or
2
10
more.
Exactly.
innings than he
Yeah,
has.
they had
And
more innings, yeah.
that goes back to the old rainout thing we talked about, that there just hasn't been enough innings for everybody
No.
this year.
It hasn't. And, before we get off there, I'd just like to, again, say thank you for everything that you all do. And I know that we would enjoy everybody's support tonight, and I know the girls would too. And, we'd like to wish them the best of luck and go get a district championship. And that'd be neat to have 2 district champions in the same town. And but either way, they're going on to the regional tournament, and so are we, and so is Madisonville and both schools. So it's going to be both. It's going to be good games both places, I think, and it's what it should be this time of year.
Yeah.
So.
Second region tournaments are next week. Baseball's at Christian County. Softball's over at Hopkins County Central. I'm guessing those will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Don't look at the weather forecast for next week. Hopefully it'll change.
Don't jinx it. Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Thank you guys for coming in
y'all
today.
for
I
having us.
appreciate it.
Pleasure having you guys in studio, and we certainly appreciate you being here. And Todd, that's going to wrap up another great week, and we might have someone said no top 5 this week, and we just had so much good stuff to talk about.
We'll have a top 5 next week.
We'll have a top 5 next week.
We need a topic, though.
Yeah, you guys will just have to stay tuned. We'll try to let you know, give you a little teaser in the middle of the week.
I'm telling you, you have to go watch some of the Marvel movies so that we can.
Once baseball season ends, maybe. In softball season.
That's why I go at like 11 or noon.
Yeah.
Because we don't worry. I don't go until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I can catch a noon. Yeah.
The Capitol Cinemas, man. Just run down there and watch a movie.
I definitely do that. We will definitely do that.
Deadpool 2 is great.
It's good.
Hey, tonight it's Solo, baby.
Oh, it is tonight.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that. And we'll see. I don't know. I'm just I'm staying neutral on it.
We did our top Star Wars movies, didn't we?
I think we did.
I think we did.
Yeah, I can't contribute to that one.
Me either.
That's a shame.
One of the few, I think, but I can't.
Well, certainly go out and cheer on your favorite team, of course, the Caldwell County Tigers and Lady Tigers. Let's bring home those championships tonight, and we'll see you at the regional tournament as well. So thank you, Todd. Thank you, Coach Stallins. Thank you, Tyler Dixon from the New Era. That's going to wrap it up at 8 minutes past the hour. And I need to mention U-Ride as another sponsor. Go by there and check out Dave's Deal of the Week at U-Ride. And they're located on Marion Road. Last week it was a Silverado. I don't have a Dave's deal today, but I will have one shortly, and we'll tell you about it. But just go in there to the lot and say, hey, Dave, show me a deal. And David Harden will show you a great deal at U-Ride on Marion Road in Princeton. That's going to wrap it up today. We thank you so much for joining us. We're at the top of the hour. And we'll see you next week on the Sideline Report. For Todd Griffin, Coach Stallins, and Tyler Dixon, Ty Englebright, have a wonderful day, everybody.
From the WPKY Weather Center, here's a look at the latest local forecast on 103.3 FM.